2018 Australian Open seed reports, full. Sports Illustrated's John Wertheim breaks down the men's and women's seeds at the 2018 Australian Open. Read on for the dark horses, top first-round matchups, predictions and more. Michael Dodge, Getty Images. I don't practice Santeria, I ain't got no crystal ball but some prognosticating before the 2018 Australian Open as we anticipate another Federer-Nadal showdown ? And sadly, we'll make an early reference to our tournament tennis mantra, health is the great variable. At full strength, Nadal can go a set better than last year and win the title. His intermarriage of spin and power remains formidable, as we saw at the previous slam. If Nadal is physically compromised, and sadly we hear that's the case, all bets are off. What a difference a year makes. At this point in 2017, Federer was a 35-year-old coming off a knee injury, who wasn't among the top 16 seeds. This year he is not only the defending champ but the odds-on favorite. Dimitrov was coming off the biggest win of his career, the Cincy title, but failed to build on it at the US Open. This year, he is coming off the new biggest win of his career, the 2017 ATP World Tour Finals year-end title in London. We'll see if there's a catalytic effort. Possesses the full palette of shots that we've long known. Does he possess the full range of emotion to survive 7 rounds? Big opportunity here. Watch for that round of 16 match with a guy named Djokovic. The future has become the present, as his seeding will attest. There's so much to like here, starting with the German pragmatism. So it is that he knows this truth, he needs to improve his play in best-of-5 matches before he has full certification. His fate lies largely in his legs, and lungs, and not in his arms. You wish the court were playing a bit slower, but theme now with Gallo Blanco as coach is a contender. He has been embedded in the top echelon for a while. Can he continue his upward mobility? No longer with Jonas Bjorkman, an underrated partnership. Has had a rough go of it down under recently. Last year he was knocked out early by Dan Evans. Such a solid player. He plays the minor keys but is capable on all dimensions. One of those guys who may lack the firepower to win slams, but will always give himself the best chance. And, meanwhile, you admire the professionalism. Yet another strong finish to a season for the highest-ranked American. Now, he needs a deep run at a slam to burnish his credentials. Injuries and questionable fitness have curtailed his slam progress in the past. Is he ready now? Says a lot that Wawrinka didn't win a match in the second half of 2017 and still clocked a top 10 ranking. Former champ, now age 32, would be a contender were he fully healthy and fully recovered from a knee injury. Sadly that doesn't appear to be the case. Pablo Carreño Busta, ESP. Coming off a strong US Open, you can say safely PCB is the least heralded player in the top 10. Lithe and athletic, he's deceptively fun to watch. Coming off a semi-final run at the 2017 US Open. Missed 2017 Australian Open. Now, with a new coach, Brad Stein, and a new ranking, Anderson is an intriguing prospect. Coming off a run to the final of the previous major. Juan Martin Del Potro, ARG. Delpo is a top 5 player, rankings be damned. He's a contender to win any hard-court slam he enters. Missed this event in 2017, so he's playing with house money. Fine late career surge, including a run to the Wimbledon semis last year. But faces a dangerous first-rounder against ageless Feliciano Lopez. His record in Melbourne speaks nay, screams for itself. But you worry about the lingering elbow injury. As we write this, he is still in the draw. That we had to timestamp is discouraging. If get through 3 rounds, a showdown with Zverev looms. A likable dangerous four-day player, but it's getting late in the day. Ever since his cannonball run to finish atop the ranking in the fall of 2016, Murray has been diminished. Hip injuries are serious in this business. A strong bounce-back summer for the big American. Unfortunately, that also means he's played a lot of tennis. The easier he gets through his early matches, the more you like his chances. He is like San Francisco weather. Wild and shifting, and if you wait a bit, be assured it will change. Which is all part of the fun. He is 22 now and still shedding his skin. A nifty track record at his home slam, including a messy loss in 2017, and he still cuts a polarizing figure. But watch what happens when the good Nick shows up and he wins a few rounds. Never won a match at the Australian Open. A revelation in 2016, tuned in as surprisingly mid-2017. Strong Davis Cup play salvaged his year. Lots to like here. And he trains in the heat. So consider him a player well worth watching in Melbourne, even with a 0-4 career record. Crazy as this sounds, you get the feeling Berdych never truly recovered from the beatdown Federer laid on him in Melbourne last year. A semi-finalist, and nearly finalist, 2 years ago, Raonic attempts to rebuild in 2018 around a new team. Tennis little man has quietly become a reliable winner. Conqueror of Andy Murray in Melbourne last year. Gael Monfils, sadly not unlike Tsonga and Gasquet, there's a sense the credits are about to roll on a rollicking film. David Ferrer, by industriousness alone, he's reached dark horse status. Karen Khachanov, best of the Russian brigade that's coming. Denis Shapovalov, tennis iPhone 9. The future isn't the present. Gilles Simon, how the hell did his ranking drop out of the top 80? Took 2 sets off Djokovic in 2016. Won Pune tune-up last week, beating Kevin Anderson in the final, which bolstered his ranking a bit. Fernando Verdasco, still capable of any given day upsets. Hai Eon Chung, his army of fans included the folks in the ATP offices eager to see a top player emerge from an emerging market. Winner of the Milan event now seeks to build. Stefanos Tsitsipas, Greek teenager, has the makings of a future star. Everyone aboard the band chariot. First round matches to watch. Donald Young, between the new service motion, the new serve, the new coach and the new health, one hopes, lots to anticipate. Francis Tiafoe, experience versus youth. Good test for both. Alex de Minaur, good test for both. Andrei Rublev, experience versus youth. A good test for both, as they say. If he's not fully healthy, mobile, Wawrinka could be run ragged by Ricardas Berankis, who makes opponents hit many balls. Piers and Kontanen until proven otherwise. Semifinals. Dimitrov. Finals. Nadal. Zhizhou, Getty Images. With Serena Williams out, the draw is, as they say, wide open. Likening women's tennis to the Wild West would oversell the vastness and chaos of the American frontier. Whose Conestoga wagon will make it through 7 rounds? Who will ascend tennis Pikes Peak? With that metaphor officially killed, let's consider the field. As an observer notes, her toughest opponent is in the mirror. Still has trouble closing tight matches, but credit her for owning up to her shortcomings and addressing them with candor. Comes in as the top seed, and though she hasn't won a match in Melbourne since 2015, you have a feeling the time has arrived for her to fulfill that. Meanwhile, someone get her an apparel deal. A hot pick to win, and not unreasonably so. After a dismal 2016, Wozniacki has been a star for the last 18 months. Still has a tendency to play with passivity unbecoming her athleticism and height, but knows how to win, especially when confident. Even on a fast court, she has to be considered a top favorite. Still a smidge enigmatic, and still a smidge injured. But 2 slams is 2 slams. Has a chance to assert and exert some authority by winning a 3rd. As a friend says, we still need to see if she's a middleweight or a heavyweight. Lots of game, lots of smaller titles, but you make your bones at the majors. Well, and let's pause for a moment before we go further and note it was 20 years ago, as in 2 decades, pre-cell phones, when she flew coach and made her Melbourne debut. The flight to Australia took forever. Florida to Los Angeles, LA. The girl's father, Richard, was going to go, and the Williamses were going to travel business class. Oisin was astounded at the price, more than $29,000 for the family. She thought it almost sinful. A lot of people work a year for less than $29,000. Richard decided not to go. Oisin decided she and the girls would travel coach for slightly more than $6,000. Stuffed into a stuffed plane from Los Angeles 61 Venus in the aisle seat to get room for her long legs, they landed in Sydney 14 hours later. Television cameras were waiting at the airport. New aunt will benefit from the day off between matches, the extra rest time helpful to a 37-year-old. She's a finalist last year and the winner isn't here to defend. Venus is a sentimental favorite, but does she have 7 matches in her? Michael Dodge, Getty Images. She was the favorite of Wimbledon, was defenestrated by a player ranked outside the top 100 and hasn't really been the same since. Suddenly outside the top 5. She's now with new coach Thomas Krupa. The game is there. Is the self-belief as well? French Open gets an early test against tricky Italian veteran, and fellow surprise French Open champ, Francesca Schiavone. You like the Ostapenko attitude and confidence, sense of entitlement? And she seems determined to extinguish all notions that she's a one-slam wonder. A newcomer to the top 10 will now try and assert herself with a strong slam showing. Now a Joycean disciple, she's working with Michael Joyce now. Gonta tries to rebound from a rough second half of 2017. She played the Australian Open only twice before. She reached semi and a quarter. Say this. She comes to play at the biggest events. A 2017 semi-finalist in Australia, a Week 2 player at Wimbledon, a semi-finalist at the US Open. First Aussie Open with Pat Cash could be a minor twist. Among the best athletes in the women's game and brings a full set of skills. But can also vanish, as she did in round 1 last year. When does she truly break through in singles? German veteran has done a wonderbar job reviving her career. Tall, stylish player who can be her own worst enemy. Starts against young American Sofia Kenin. Winner of the previous slam is apparently healthy enough to play, but she is sufficiently healthy to contend? Aside, could it really be 5 years since she beat Serena and reached the SF? Draw gods did her no favors. The best player you, perhaps, have never seen. Steady veteran will try and build on 2016. Settled into a role as a solid player, capable of reaching quarter-finals, but not a threat to win the biggest titles. Credit her for later career resuscitation of her career, her singles career, anyway, but more annoyance than threat to win. As we saw the previous slam, if she's healthy, she can win the whole shebang. It's all about the absence of pain and the full confidence that comes with it. This has quickly escalated from pleasing story to legitimate contender. Feisty, sneaky and dangerous, especially on faster courts. The champion in 2016 is trying to forget her dismal 2017 and restart with new coach Hubothus. Early returns, she's playing well. Absolutely should be included in a contender conversation. Plays well in front of local crowds. Now playing with a new racket, gets mentioned because of earlier work. But this is a career trending in the wrong direction. Who knows which Petra will show in Melbourne? But players who have won multiple fast-court majors merit mention. A semi-finalist in 2017. Former semi-finalist rediscovering form. Maria Sharapova, can a former number 1 and former winner also be a dark horse? If so, here's one at the top of the list. Camila Giorgi, may be playing herself out in Sydney, but what a start to the year. Tsitsipas, interesting to see what sophomore year holds in store. Kristina Pliskova, big lefty server is the epitome of a dangerous floater. Ocean Dode, a top 10 player by 2020. First round matches to watch. Belinda Bencic, former finalist against former top 10 player Schiavone, battle of the surprise French Open winners. Monica Puig, two players who would benefit from a win. Sabalenka, two players who made big rankings jumps in 2017. Zhang Shuai to beat a less than healthy Sloane Stephens. Semifinals. Venus. Final. Wozniacki.